Hey there. Thanks so much for joining. My name is Dana Damara. Welcome to Astrocast, my interpretation of an astrological forecast of what's going on in the world right now and the planets. I want to welcome you if this is your first time here and just really reacquaint you with this idea of us being the microcosm and the astrology being the macrocosm. We are part of all that is. And this astrology, the forecasts that I share with you, really are a linear equation, if you will, of what's going on in the world, and also my own intuitive insight. But you are going to interpret this astrological forecast based on your internal compass and your inner knowing. Each one of us on the planet has a different birth chart. Each one of us has different karma. Each one of us has different dharma. And each one of us is awake to different degrees where we can understand and also integrate this information. So, having said that, welcome. Thank you. I would say take notes if you want to take notes and get ready because this is like it's the like crescendo to the year. So let's go ahead and get started. And again, if you haven't been here before, I do like to start with a little quick meditation, just kind of a moment of silence so that particularly so I can drop in and be here and present, but also so you can as well. So go ahead and if you would close the eyes, take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth if you want. Breathing out through the mouth, even making a sound, an audible exhalation is really supportive of clearing energy. So it's real simple, like, and my favorite, as always, is just giving you that moment in time to really clear your space. And then when you close the eyes and find that comfortable seat, just kind of allow your body to sit upright. Maybe you've lit a candle to really acknowledge that you're here and present. Maybe you're just sitting quietly, which is super powerful right now. There's a lot going on in the world. Very important and powerful to know how to be still. And then I just always ask in my own heart and my own mind to just be a clear vessel for this information so that I can share it with you and I can hear clearly what's going on without projection, and you can hear what's going on without limitation. Let's take a few more deep breaths. Clearing the mind from the moment before, concerns of later. On your next inhale, you can just hold the breath. Exhale all the breath out through the mouth. Aho, here we are, present and prepared. Okay, so many things happening. I have a timer set for me because I tend to go like way over that I want to. So I'm going to watch my time today. But a lot to say, and I want to talk about in particular the new moon solar eclipse. New moon is happening in Sagittarius. We have this whole other thing happening that I'll do another recording for, the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, the great conjunction that some people are calling Christmas star of 2020. That's happening, pretty much on the solstice, December 21st, which is pretty awesome. And then also there's another thing that you really need to know about, and that is that Saturn will be moving into Aquarius after being sitting in Capricorn since December 19th of 2017. And that's really important to note. Just notate it and then you can watch the video later, but it does affect this new moon. Now, keep in mind that new moons have the energy of darkness. So when you look up in the sky, you can't see the moon anymore because of the way the moon and the sun sit with each other. They're conjunct, they're next to each other. So you can't really see the moon. And so it creates an energy for us to be still and to be quiet and internal and create intentions for ourselves. We have about 13 lunation cycles a year. And that's just based on, the rotation and the orbit of the planets. And so this is a really powerful one. Now, when we have an eclipse, okay, basically what it does is it blocks out the light of the sun. And so and the moon, we can't see anything. So it becomes completely dark. Now you can't always see the eclipse in the entire globe. It depends upon where you are and if you'll be able to see it. And one of the most powerful places to see it this year is near Patagonia. So just keep that in mind, pay a special attention of where you can see it. And but just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Okay. It is a very powerful energy. It's like hitting the reset button on your computer. It's basically saying out loud, like redo, re-over, hit that reset button. And that's what we're experiencing. It doesn't put everything that we've experienced kind of out into oblivion. And it doesn't say, oh, let's just erase all of that. It just gives us an opportunity to start again. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I do this for a couple of reasons. One is because it's just a sweet little PowerPoint that I like to share with you, but I also like you to see it in big. So when I show you the map, you'll see what I'm talking about. So December 14th, 2020, at 8:16 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is the time to go inward and to get really quiet. One thing I want to say, just so that I don't forget, is that the biggest thing for you to do with this new moon energy, and really pretty much till the end of the year, especially till 12/21, is to just be nice. Just be nice. Don't gossip about people. And I'm using the word don't very consciously. Instead, I'll say talk nice about people. Uh, stay out of the negativity, stay out of things you can't control, stay out of conflict. Just play the game of avoidance for a little while, just because if we're hitting a reset button, we want that reset button, if it were to take things with us, we want it to be in that realm of kindness and graciousness and humanity. Okay. So I'm going to put my glasses on because I want to make sure I look at my notes too. I'm talking to you. So all these, there's other aspects that have to do with the new moon. This new moon is in Sag, so it will pull a little bit of that energy of Sagittarius. But also what affects the moon is what sign it's in, its ruling planet, and other aspects. And those are the things that I'm going to go over. So we've got this new moon, Sagittarius, solar eclipse. The new moon is also conjunct to Mercury, which means it's the sun, the moon, and Mercury are all sitting right next to each other. The new moon is square to Neptune. It's also trining Mars and Mercury. That means Mercury is trining Mars by default. Okay, so I know for some of you that doesn't really mean a whole lot, but I will tell you, I'm going to go over it. And Mercury is communication. So this new moon is like communication on overdrive. This is all about how you communicate, what you say. It's like you have a massive megaphone and you are just spewing your wishes out into the ether. And the universe is listening. So be super mindful. Now, the challenging part is Neptune is involved. With Neptune involved, it can create confusion, illusion, delusion, just, secrets not revealed quite yet. And so that's why I'm saying stay out of that. Stay out of what you can't control, right? Which is pretty much everything. New moon trine Mars. This is a positive aspect, right? This is a super positive aspect because, first of all, Mars, yay, is direct. It's not retrograde anymore. And Mars is the initiator. So Mars is like, go for it, right? And Mercury is trining Mars. So that means communication, initiation, hit the go button, I'm going to show you the map here a little bit. And I'm going to actually stop share for just, actually I'll make it smaller. So just for those of you who've never looked at a chart before, here's Sagittarius. And then here's Mercury, the moon and the sun. Okay. And then what we're we talking about, here's Neptune. And then here's that beautiful conglomeration, the Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn that's been hanging out with us all freaking year long. And then here's Mars way over here. So when I talk about the planets, that's what we're looking at. But those three planets plus Venus is sitting in Sagittarius. And so this is one of the most positive new moons that we're going to experience this year, thankfully, because it's the last one of 2020. But this puts an emphasis on where we're going to and how we're going to move forward, because it comes before those aspects I was telling you about with Jupiter and Saturn conjuncting each other, as well as the solstice and then Saturn moving into Aquarius. So we have this big emphasis on gosh, like our restrictions, our systems, our laws, the way we do things, the way we travel, the way we communicate, educational systems, judicial systems, just basically all the systems that we have in play that we are have been living by for most of our lives. If you're watching this, you have some sort of acknowledgement of the systems we've been living with and how we're moving into a shift for all of those. And so when we talk about a shift, what we want to do is, claim the positivity rights. Like, okay, if I don't necessarily agree with such and such and such in the judicial system or the educational system, how do you want to see that to look? Right? Like how could something be improved? So this isn't about wallowing in what's wrong. It's about talking about, discussing, and feeling into what's right. Okay. It's fresh new energy. This is a complete promise of new beginnings. Like, this is new beginnings. This is you saying, how do I, after this entire year of so much shifting, so much stuff to look at, right? Where do you want to begin anew? What sector of your life do you want to begin anew? Relationship, finances, career, friendships, like, what is it that you want to shift and start over again? And that doesn't mean that you can just avoid what's been going on. That's what I was saying earlier. Hopefully during 2020, you have come to reckon with some of your stuff, your demons, if you will, your shadow side, so that you can move forward in a way that makes sense, that is a little bit more in alignment. And so again, if just 3 days after this happens, that's when Saturn moves into Aquarius, and I don't want to get sidetracked. So I'm going to make sure that I save that for the Saturn and Aquarius video. But basically, wherever you have felt most challenge over this year, whatever lessons you have been working with, steeping yourself in, and by steeping, I always think of like tea, right? So you've been just sitting there and you've been steeping in your lessons. That's what's going to come to a culmination with this new moon and with the solstice. That's what's going to come into play. I'm going to stop share for a moment. So that's where you want to take a look and say, what has been like the theme, the thread, the fabric of this year for me? And what have I learned? And now how can I shift that energy to kind of up level my availability, my understanding, my compassion, my idea of gratitude, that sort of thing. Okay, if that makes sense. So the other thing is that, when I talk about being in a positive state of awareness, it's not to spiritually bypass, but it is to count your blessings and to really be in a place of like, wow, I know this year's been really weird. And I know that I've had all these things happen that have been have completely tossed me into my uncomfortable zone. But what happened this year that I can really sit in a true feeling of gratitude with? What can I really feel into? And I want you to think like that and really process in that way. Thinking about abundance. We've talked about gratitude before and how, we can't really have anything more if we're not already appreciative of what we already have. At least that's how I was raised. So be in that mindset, right? So Sagittarius is also connected. This Sagittarius eclipse is also connected to the one we experienced in June. So I would, if I were you, look back, and I have looked back to June 2020 and look to see kind of what was going on in your life then, and the themes will be directly linked. And if they're not, it's because maybe there's just a little more investigation there. Let's see, I'm reading my little, yes. So remember too that Sagittarius is that, he's the archer. So Sagittarius has that bow pulled back, kind of ready to go, adventure, excitement. Now, I had someone say to me, someone very close to me say to the other day, um, I feel like I've been doing so much work this year. I've been doing so much work on myself. I feel so powerful. I feel so strong. And I got nowhere to go because of this quarantine, you know? And yeah, you're right. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have more work to do. It just means that patience needs to be cultivated. So Sagittarius might be pulling that bow back. You know, Aries is the same way. Aries is like ram, go forward. But the energy is saying just hang on, because there's some things that will start to come to fruition when Saturn moves into Aquarius, and then when Saturn and Juno conjunct each other. There's just things that kind of need to flesh themselves out. Okay, just one thing we need to do this year to learn is to trust. And, you know, I always try to remember whenever I feel frustrated at what's going on in the world, I think to myself, oh, yeah, I'm just this little speck of dust sitting on the planet, being pulled to the center of the planet by a gravitational pull. And that planet is spinning around on its own orbit and flying around the universe with a bunch of other planets. So how could I possibly know everything? I know nothing. And so then I go back to like gratitude, and I go back to like an appreciation for nature, and I go back to an appreciation for, you know, just my family and my friends and my health, and this idea of really living a beautiful life, a beautiful life. No matter what, I might not post it every day, how much I love life, but just trust. That's one of the best things you can do right now, is just be grateful and count blessings. The Sagittarius solar eclipse actually brings a lot of bright energy, you guys, and it's joined by the planet Mercury. Like I said, it's sitting right with Mercury, which will make it all about your communication. Again, just pretend like you have a big megaphone and everything you're saying is being recorded for future use. And just like the internet, it never goes away. So be clear, be concise with your words, be like, this is what I desire, this is what I love, you know. And if you have things that are sitting in your heart that are like, you know, where maybe you're still angsty or you're remorseful, or even if you're grieving, sit in that, sit in it, alchemize it, use it as compost, right? And don't avoid it. Don't shove it under the rug, because it'll come back next year. And let me just tell you, we have done enough work this year. We don't need anything coming back next year. So don't avoid or avert. If you're feeling negative feelings, just don't play in them so much where you attract more, you know, if that makes sense. It's like we are what we attract. So and we attract what we are. It's the same thing. So be super mindful about how you are processing any feelings that aren't positive. Get support. If you need support, get support. That's what I do. I support people in alchemizing their energies that aren't really helpful anymore. Epic new information, wisdom. So new moons last, the energy of a new moon lasts 28 days. Okay, so it's a lunation cycle. But when we're experiencing a solar eclipse, well, now you're talking like 6 months. Okay, so 6 months, this energy that you're setting, it's set for the next 6 months. So let's get really positive about this one. Okay, please, for the love of God. We're talking about higher truths here. We're talking about wisdom because of the way Jupiter is positioned. We're talking about amplifying and expanding our awareness. We're talking about creating an infectious, positive way of being. And I know it's hard. Look, I know it's hard. I think about all that's happened this year. We have experienced so much. I just had this conversation with my daughter today. We've experienced so much that some of us are becoming apathetic. Like when something happens and there's an injustice, we're like, really? WTF? I can't anymore. I can't stand up and fight. I'm tired, right? And I'm not telling you to not, and I'm not telling you to, but what I am telling you is that's kind of the energy that we're experiencing. But know that from that is born resiliency. Like this year has been about you finding your deepest strength and courage and resiliency in a really challenging year. Hindsight is 2020. That phrase will never mean the same thing ever. No one will ever say that flippantly. They'll always be like a little like, oh yeah, you know. So know that this year has been about resiliency, and know that we're not done. If we're still here, you know, able to, then there's still work to be done. But I would say, imagine moving into a sense of healing. We're moving from resiliency to healing. Maybe you've had to like chuck it this year, you know, like, oh my God, oh my God. Maybe you haven't had any changes at all. And if you haven't, I'm just going to tell you that someone in your direct circle has, and they need you. So be nice. Okay. Okay. Deep devotion of love, like be really devoted with this idea of love. And I think about it this way: if the moon and sun are together and then Mercury comes in, it's like really talking about and being aware of and communicating, you know, your deepest desires. If you could like dream up your perfect existence, what would it look like? That. Okay. Um, um, I talked about this today with a client. Duality is a real thing. Like, I am separate from you. As a human, we are separate. I'm separate from my teacup. I'm separate from all these things in my room here. I am separate. Okay. But in actuality, we are all one. So when we're experiencing duality, it's okay to understand that as humans, human existence, we're physically separate, but you don't need to participate in an illusion of understanding that in universal reality, universal truth, we're all one. But just something outside of you is showing up as a reflection of you. So treat it like you would treat yourself. Treat it gently, treat it kindly, avoid conflict. I said that earlier. Focus your thinking and your communication on love and curiosity and intrigue. Like be intrigued. Be intrigued about the future. Be intrigued about your neighbor. Be intrigued about something that just lights your soul on fire. Okay. Neptune is also creating a square. So like I said earlier, Neptune, when it creates this type of energy, it can put illusion in your way. So it will toss you back into your old ways of thinking or your old patterns, your egoic ways of being. It's like hitting the snooze button. Neptune's like, go back to sleep, you know? And you know, it's Mars is like, no, don't go back to sleep. Neptune's like, go back to sleep. Go back to this illusion of what you were believing before because it's comfortable. But I'm telling you, nothing about this year has been comfortable. So don't allow yourself to get super comfortable. I just have to pay attention to the time. Okay, getting close. So just be super mindful about what your truth is around something. And Byron Katie is one of my all-time favorite teachers, and she's not a yoga teacher. So when people say, what do you do? And I say, well, I'm a teacher, but I'm also an astrologist, because some of the best teachers I've worked with weren't yoga teachers, and Byron Katie's one of them. And she taught me to really observe the thoughts. This is what I use in my coaching program. Observe your thoughts and ask yourself, how did it feel when that thought crossed my mind? Did I feel restricted? Did I feel pissed off? Did I feel afraid? If you feel any of those lower vibrations, then you have to sit in that and go, is that really true? Because I would bet money that it's not true. It's an old thought, an old illusion. That's why it's creating resistance. The resistance is asking you to say, question everything. And that's the energy we want right now. Question everything. Is this true? Is this true? It's creating resistance. Is it really real? I don't really know. Okay, if it's not love, it's not real. Sorry, but it's true. Actually, sorry, not sorry. Okay, let's see what I got here. Yeah, only love is real, and I know that sounds like a, like a name of a song because it is, but it's really true. And so anything that makes you feel in fear isn't real. It's just you've made it up in your head somewhere. And then the moon and sun trine Mars, which again, I said, it's like energy. It's going to give you energy to move forward. It's going to say, oh my God, this is so exciting. Let's do it. Let's go. Again, just be mindful that you stay in the sync and the rhythms of the earth. And I would say, like, keep planning and don't really do anything yet until at least after the 21st. You just, I know it sounds silly, and if you have to do something before then okay, then you have to. But just be mindful, because this really is a beautiful new moon to set new goals, new expectations. Like I would treat, here we go, this is it. I would treat this new moon like it was New Year's Eve, because technically, with the rhythms of the stars and the planets and everything else, this is the new year right now. Well, the 21st is probably a better gauge. So this might be like the week before New Year's Eve, which is Christmas. Isn't that interesting? So just be super mindful about what you're putting out there. Okay. Mercury trine Mars. This is all about, again, remember, Mars is energized, Mercury is thoughts. So this is all about really amping up your thought process. It's not getting stuck in projection or fear or procrastination. If it's an impulse and it feels good, get the wheels moving. Trust. If it makes you feel excited, trust. It's the right thing. Okay. Be a little more assertive, but not aggressive. Right? Be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind. I love this. This is my one of my teachers taught me this, and this is with all eclipse. You can always eclipse negative thinking. So when a negative thought comes in, just think of like what an eclipse looks like. It's like gone. This comes right in front. Eclipse the negative thinking. When I hear myself say something out loud, because I say things, I sometimes I'm not, sometimes I like sound gossipy, or I like say something that's judgmental, or I even talk um, less than to myself. We all do it. All of us. We're just a matter of, are we conscious of it? So if ever I hear myself say something, I might go delete, 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 and like toss it out the window. Wait, that's not what I meant. Sorry. So just catch yourself and eclipse those thoughts and those words and those ways of being, like as soon as possible. Start to create new paradigms for your thoughts. Okay. And then one thing you want to really think about here is this is kind of where I'm going to start to wrap up. These moments in time are really about using your intuition. This isn't about looking online and seeing what everyone else is doing, or what our politicians are doing, or what everyone else who are following is doing. This is about sitting in your own seat, taking the seat of your life and saying, what do I believe? Me. What do I believe? My inner authority, you know? And then really transmuting some of this energy from the third eye. So any meditation you can do with the third eye, just focusing on that flame of the third eye, is going to be really powerful. Really powerful. So I would really drop into this idea of focusing on how you sometimes, instead of using third eye, you use a pattern thought or someone else's belief system. Okay. And just go to the place of using that intuition, feeling it in your gut, moving from that place only. You want to use this to really validate your own truth. Like Byron Katie says, is that true? Do you know that to be true? And know, I teach this, or I share this in teacher training too, and with coaching clients. Where do you feel truth in your body? Is it in your gut? Is it in your heart? Is it in your third eye? Is it in your hands? Like, when you feel truth, where do you feel it? I feel it in my heart, and I get goosebumps when I'm speaking truth. So know how to locate truth and unlock yourself from your old thoughts. And so those of you who chant with me, Chanting to Ganesh right now, if you don't already, I do every day. It is really a powerful way to process. It's this really beautiful idea of um, acknowledging that you can take accountability for your own misgivings or your mistakes or your missteps or whatever, and you can move forward, right? Because you can get out of your own way, and those obstacles that are in front of you are really of your own doing. You put them there for some reason, to learn some lesson. You can get rid of them now. You can let go of them. So understand what your deepest blocks are. Really important. And seek to choose joy. If it's not fun, don't do it. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Like, just cut through the fluff, and be kind while you cut through the fluff, and just do you. This is your life, right? Be engaged, be alive. This is a an eclipse for freedom, true freedom. And it's so funny because I've had this tattoo on my arm forever, since November 11th, 2011, truth, freedom, and love. And I feel like, wow, this really is, this new moon eclipse is really about truth, freedom, and love. It really is. This is time to really live your truth, be free from what's behind you, and fall back in love with this life. Amidst all the noise and the haste, it is a beautiful, beautiful life. I promise. Um, and just be quiet on the new moon. Just be really quiet if you can. I'm going to share something with you. Make sure I share the right page. There we go. Just a couple things real quick. So some of you know this, some of you don't, but I create malas. I call them cosmic malas. They're made with Rudrakshika seed from Bali and lava beads, and then each astrological sign has a different stone. And so this is a Sagittarius, and I also create essential oil blends that have to do with the astrological signs. So I give it away right there. So if you're an oil techie, you can make your own, but I do sell them. So if this is, and I did just get a shipment in from Bali. So if this is something that you're interested in, please take a look, shoot me a note. You can go to cosmicmalas.com. Here's how to find me, danadamara.com. And then I teach weekly yoga classes, online only, workshops online coming in 2021, yoga teacher training, essential oils. And then also there's my social media. So I'm in Facebook and Instagram. So I do like to just make sure I put that up there before I go. Lots coming up. I'm going to go ahead and record the Saturn into Aquarius, and make sure you watch that, because it is a really big deal. And if you don't know, like, how to compare what's going on with with the now and your astrological chart, please reach out to me, because I read people's charts all the time, and everybody's is different. Everyone. So what I'm telling you now is like a broad stroke of what's going on, but how it will affect you depends on the houses that the planets are in, your birthday, all of that. So absolutely reach out to me if that's something that you want to do. Okay. And in the meantime, just remember, be nice, be kind, be loving, truth, freedom, and love. Thank you so much. You guys, it was such a beautiful blessing to be here. Have such a gorgeous rest of your day. Namaste. Take care.